Hey everybody, Kimmel's Irish Pub. Hot one here, or I don't know, Borg McEnroe. So this is a story about, how do you say his name? Bjorn Borg and John McEnroe, 1980s tennis stars. They were rivalries. And if you ever seen John McEnroe, he used to flip out and scream and smash his racket. He was incredible. Awesome to watch. And yeah, Borg was a little bit more reserved than McEnroe was. So this is a movie about their rivalry back in the 1980s, and it's Shia LaBeouf was playing John McEnroe. He's pretty volatile himself, so good casting. I don't know. I'm kind of excited. I don't know why. I've never heard of this before. It popped up somewhere, and I'm like, well, let's check it out. So sounds like it could be pretty good. I'm excited. I'll get into it a little bit more and see how good it is. All right, stick around. I'll be back. Hey everybody. Time for a quick check-in. We're watching Borg McEnroe. It's the 1 hour and 16-second mark. So it's only an hour and 47-minute film. And so we're over the halfway point here. And it's really all comes down to, like, they're showing a little bit of, you know, looking back, flashbacks, if you will. But it's all about Borg going on, or he has a chance to win his 5th Wimbledon in a row. I believe it's in a row. But he's won 4. He's going for his 5th here. He was the youngest player ever to win Wimbledon, and now he's going to be the player with the most wins. Whether it's straight or not, I'm not sure. But McEnroe is the up-and-coming player. But if you don't know much about John McEnroe, he's very hothead, always yelling at the umps, screaming and yelling, carrying on. Whereas Borg is more refined, you know, just plays his own game, that kind of thing. A majority of the flashbacks are centered around Borg. There are some with McEnroe, but it seems to be more about Borg and his upbringing and how he became what he became. And essentially, he started off as a hothead, and he had a mentor that taught him to bottle that all up and not to show emotion on the court. So I thought that was interesting. Whereas McEnroe just says what comes to mind when it. But and Shia LaBeouf's playing him, so you can imagine he does a pretty good job of exploding on the umps when needed. But there's not that much of a look back into John McEnroe's history. There's a little bit. There's flashbacks, so there's a younger version of him, but it's not as detailed as Borg so far. So that's a slight disappointment there. I'd like to learn a little bit more. It seems more like a Borg movie than Borg and McEnroe at this point. But it's all coming down at a showdown in Wimbledon. They're going to meet up and play there, so it should be pretty interesting. That's all I have for you. Not a lot. It's going to be a short little review, little check-in there, and probably see you at the credits, all right? All right, see ya. All right, so we're at the credits of Borg McEnroe. I think they could have just called the movie Borg. Well, McEnroe was in it, and it was about their Wimbledon rivalry. And it was great. I thought if it could have played a little bit better, if they shared flashbacks equally and really showed the upbringing of both of them. It really did focus on Borg and everything like that, and you know, everything that I had already mentioned. He's also very superstitious. Rents the same car every time he goes to Wimbledon. Same hotel, same everything. He even gets in the car on the way there and he says, this is the wrong car, it's got different upholstery. His parents are only allowed to come to every other Wimbledon, and when they do, they have to wear the same clothes the entire tournament. So very superstitious. You know, he lowers his heart rate every night before bed, those kinds of things. Has to pack his bag a certain way. They show a part where he was going to play against a garage door, which I thought was interesting. As a kid, they show him playing tennis against a garage door. I remember when I used to be a kid and I used to play spongy, throw the ball off the wall. So he's done the same thing. I didn't fare as well as he did. But I thought that was neat. But he wouldn't do it unless he knew exactly what door it was. He wouldn't go off any door. So very superstitious, and you know, really got to understand everything about Borg. But I don't think they gave enough for McEnroe. There was some there. There was some character building there, but not enough. I think they should have done that. I don't know why they didn't, and I think that would have made the film a lot better. The final match between them does take up a lot of the movie. So they have their small spoiler alert, they both make it to the championship in Wimbledon. You knew that was coming, but you might not know what the outcome is. But it's a long match, just like tennis is. It was like really watching tennis. It took forever. But I get it. They're building up the tension there. The suspense, all that kind of stuff. So I get it. As far as casting, I thought they did a really good job. When you look at all the pictures, I show the pictures at the end of the actual people, and I thought that was pretty cool. One of the guys, Stellan Skarsgård, you know him, Good Will Hunting, Avengers, Thor. He's in that. He's the one who plays Borg's coach, and he looks just like him. I don't know how they acted and stuff like that. To be honest with you, I don't know how Borg, but the actor who plays Borg looks just like him too. Even his girlfriend / wife, I thought they did a great job of casting these people. Shia LaBeouf does try and look a little bit more like John McEnroe, but and he has the aggressiveness, that he has the anger in him that I thought kind of made it seem a lot more like John McEnroe. But otherwise, I didn't feel he didn't transform into John McEnroe for me. I don't think. They had his curly hair and stuff like that, and they had him shouting and yelling, but it just felt like Shia LaBeouf. Really, it wasn't really. I didn't get sucked into thinking he's John McEnroe like I did the other one. So that's a little bit down for me. And the fact that they didn't really go into his history. It seemed like where Borg relied on his coach and his mentor throughout, from when he was 15 years old on up. They showed all that. Well, it seemed like McEnroe really relied on his dad, but you don't see that relationship building there between the two of them. So I think they failed on that point. I think that could have been a lot better. Overall, probably going to go 6 or 7. Probably a 7. I still enjoyed it. Sports movie. I remember, like tennis, I never really watched tennis, but I always knew what was going on. When I was growing up in the 80s, I knew about McEnroe and Connor and, all the way up to Andre Agassi and Pete Sampras, but now I don't even know. I mean, more girls tennis, I think, the Williams sisters, I know more about that than I do about who's the top tennis player nowadays. But anyway, so that's, if you're into that, if you remember the 80s tennis and you remember McEnroe, check it out. Let me know what you think. Love to hear from you. Let me know. I'm watching this. I don't remember who won Wimbledon in 1980. So I wasn't sure how the outcome of this was going to happen. I didn't want to look it up. I wanted to be surprised. But I found myself rooting for McEnroe. He was the underdog. Everybody hated him. Although he was, an embarrassment on the court because of the way his behavior. I felt myself rooting for him. So I'm just curious and who you start rooting for. If you do watch this and you start rooting for somebody, did you root for Borg or McEnroe? So I'd be interested to hear that. So put that in the comments if you do end up watching it, and let me know what you think. Hopefully this review was helpful. Thanks for tuning in. Kimmel's Irish Pub.